Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. Today, we're going to be talking about how to tell you're in love based off of your Myers-Briggs type personality. I know I said that wrong. Anyways, before we start, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment down below. Or share this with someone, or don't. But, anyways, before we start, disclaimer, I will not be 100% accurate. Never will. Another thing is, for better MBTI videos, check out Dear Tristan and Frank James. They make really good videos. I'll put a link in the description to their channels and tell them that I sent you chaos. And then direct them to my video or channel. Who knows? Alright. Now let's get into it. Alright, the first step we have is the INTP. So as you can see here, I have the tentative functions. If you need to explain that, don't watch mine. Watch the one by Frank James. So INTPs when they're in love. So INTPs are typically logical thinkers who develop their logic through their NEs, through their imagination, through ideas. So I feel like when INTPs are in love, you might see them focus more on their SI. Now SI is a really interesting function for the INTP because it's in their third spot. And I could do a whole entire other video explaining why your third function is really unique. Anyways, so the reason why I say they'll go into their third function is your third function, in this case SI, is one you're good at, but it might not be very developed, or it might be immature. And I know that might be confusing, but then I could do an entire video and just explain the third function. So when INTPs are in love, they might become really focused on the details of the person. They might become really in the real world, I guess. They might also become overly kind to that person. They'll also dive into their 2FE a little bit more, which is their inferior function. So I notice a lot of times when you're in that falling in love stage, you start to focus a lot on your two weaker functions, especially that third function. So what this means, I feel like the INTP becomes so logically inclined towards this person that they almost start to become so in the real world and in other people's feelings, the social norm, I guess. Just they think a lot about that. They overthink it, I guess. That's another thing. Alright, I think I said enough for INTPs. On to the ISTPs. Alright, next up we have ISTPs. ISTPs are normally this very logical in the real world, sensory, get things done, practical people. But when they're in love, again, they focus on their NI and FE, but especially the NI, which means I noticed that when ISTPs, especially again in that earlier stage of attraction, might become oddly philosophical or oddly abstract, and they might get really attached to that abstract idea, especially if it's about that person. And a lot of them it's ooh, you feel this way, let's explore that. I feel like for ISTPs, it's that they're such practical people that want to know the truth, that they end up sometimes making assumptions about the person they like just based off of their NI based off of what they can see, and they might dive deep even if they don't really sense anything. So yeah, that's kind of the ISTP and a really short summary. On to the next types. Alright, next up we have the ENTJ. ENTJs are practical people with a dual. And one thing I feel like I didn't explain very well with the INTPs and the ISTPs, it's not like they're not using the TI and then the NE or SE depending on which type. They're always using them, and they are still using them quite a bit when they're in love. But just that they kind of start to introduce the last two functions, the SI or NI and the FE. They're still mostly using the TI, then SE or NE, just they're introducing those other functions. So for ENTJ, they introduce their SE-FI, but then they're really only introducing the SE. The FI is just like an after product, just like, you know, these two are kind of a deal package, and ENTJ just like these two, like, you're gonna have this, you're gonna have this, and you're gonna have this, you're gonna have this. So what you might notice is the ENTJ will maybe start to act a little bit more like spontaneous. There isn't really like a rhyme or reason, and it doesn't really connect to their goals. Not in the SEFI. You know, I think that's because when they're in that early stage of love, they're like, you know, like, this person, I didn't know this person, like, how does this person? So they're almost like this with all these, they're almost like using this, so then like they then work it out into, you know, like, they're using the, you know, the bond part here, this part, to then help them connect with this person and have a relationship with this person using this part. You know, that's the same for, you know, that the ENTJ, but also the INTPs and ISTPs do the same thing. You know, I just figure I didn't really talk about that, but that's sort of what's happening, I guess, when you really like deep dive into it. Alright, on to the next type. Let's go. Next up we have the ESTJs, who are obviously pretty structured and logical people, you know. So, just like the ENTJs, all the other types, they use their NEFI, mostly the NE obviously, to help obviously inform them how to start a relationship with the TESI. So for ESTJs, it might be like, hey, I have all these ideas, you know, like, let's just enjoy ourselves, let's just like values and ideas, that's like, they become very artistic and abstract way, kind of. They do this to be like, well, alright, now I'm gonna start a relationship with you. They use that to be like, alright, now I know how to start a relationship with you using the TESI, using that structured, efficient, business-like approach. Alright, I think that's all I have to say about ESTJs. If you really want me to like do a deep dive, you're like, you know, that was helpful, but I need more information, comment down below. I think I might do ones where I really like dive deep into each MBTI, or maybe I'll talk about more on the cognitive functions, personality traits that maybe are overlooked by a lot of people, and, you know, and love. So yeah, comment down below if you want to be like, you should do a deep dive on INTP or ISFP or ESFJ. Comment down below and I will do it, because that sounds like a lot of fun. Alright, on to the next type. Alright, next we have the INFPs. INFPs are people who love to express their authentic, true self, and their emotions and their deepest values through more abstract medias like say a poem or a writing. When they're in love, they use their SITE, but then most of their SI to build the dive within to inform them how to start a relationship using FINE. They're like, how do I really start a relationship with this person? They're like, I'll use this structured approach to help me start a relationship to start a relationship using the more abstract expressing myself, being authentic to my true values through intuitive ways. So yeah, that's the INFP in a very short summary in love. Wow, that was a confusing mix up of words. Am I gonna redo that? No. On to the next type. Alright, next up we have ISFPs, who are people who love to express their authentic self through more sensory things like paintings or music. They use their NITE to help formulate a long-term plan, which in result informs them how to start a relationship using FISE. So pretty self-storage, they use this, the long-term efficient plan to be like, alright, how do I start to like someone in the sensory real world, using my authentic feelings, expressing myself. So yeah. Next type. Alright, next up we have ENFJs. Now one thing I'm gonna say is, just like all the other types, they use these two functions, but they use their SETI to help inform their FINE, how to start a relationship, using the FENI. And you might be thinking to yourself, chaos. The ENFJ with dominant FE needs their help to know how to form a relationship with someone? Well, what are you talking about? Whereas, yes, true. All FJ types, either that be ENFJ, ESFJ, INFJ, or ISFJ, all have extrovert feeling as their top or second function, first or second. Doesn't necessarily mean when they're trying to become in a relationship with someone. All types, when they really want to form a relationship with someone, a romantic relationship especially, they need to use the bottom half of their functions to help their top half functions actually build the relationship. So they might use the part of them that's just out exploring and figuring things logically on the way to help them build that connection with someone with their FEN. It's alright, I need to use the sensory information I'm learning right now to help me build this vision and this partner with someone. This FENI is all about what does this person need in a more visionary sense of the word, or how to create group harmony in more of a visionary, intuitive, philosophical way, is what I'm trying to say. Alright. Next type. Next up we have ESFJs. ESFJs use these ideas that they use to build logical frameworks, or they use the logical framework that helps generate the ideas to help them build a relationship based off of group harmony, social status, and structure and details in the real world. Then because since they're using the NETI to help them or to inform them how to generate a relationship using FESI. Alright, next, type. Alright, now we have INTJs. INTJs use what they feel and using and the sensory information to help them learn how to be in a relationship with someone using their long-term vision and efficient goal planning. Pretty much they use their FISE to help inform their NITE, since FISE is all about their emotions and sensory information, and NITE is about long-term planning. They use the feeling and sensory information to learn how to have a relationship and their long-term planning or goal. Alright, next type. INFJs are next. INFJs use their TISE, which is all about logically figure things out by using sensory information and by using your hands. Using like in the moment sensory information. They use this to teach them how to create a relationship with someone using their NIFE, which is all about the goal and reading into people's and emotions and group harmony. Stuff like that pretty much. So yeah. On to the next type. Alright. Next we have ENTPs. ENTPs use the social harmony. Does FE is all about how people feel, and SI is all about like structure, sensory details, whatever you want to call it. So they use that to support their ideas and logical understanding. That's what NETI type is all about. They'll use this to inform them how to start a relationship using these crazy ideas that are based off of this logic that they feel like they need to logically understand. So yeah, all these are a little bit more complicated. Like they're really hard to explain in such a short time. So if you want me to do a deep dive in general, just a general deep dive into each MBTI, what I'll do then I'll talk about cognitive functions and other things like other personality traits that aren't as well known, and when they're in love. So yeah. Next, personality. Next is ENFP, who use their efficient planning and this details, organized plan or details to inform their crazy ideas that are based off of their feelings and their authentic thoughts or ideas, or whatever you want to call them. And they use this to how to structurally, they use these to be alright, how do I start a relationship using NEFI? Then same as all the other types, but then you want the more deep analyze into each personality, comment down below or just like this video. This will show me that you guys like MBTI and that I should focus on each MBTI to be more exact. So you do that. Next type. Next we have ISTJ. ISTJs use their authentic selves expressed through this NE medium. This idea, abstract, not tangible ideas, to kind of inform how to use their SIT, their very organized, pragmatic, realistic mind, form a relationship with the special person they're in love with. Also, to clarify, talking this video, I probably should put this at the start, but when I'm talking in love, that can either be with maybe a person you know, but you're not in a relationship with yet. It's just someone you're attracted to, but maybe you're not in a relationship yet. Or maybe you're already in a relationship with someone, and because again, these are just the 16 personalities in love, and so I guess I probably should have started this video. This video isn't how to tell you're in love per se, but sort of how to tell what you might do when you're in love, or what you should do when you're in love, I guess. So the title might be a little different to what the video actually is, I guess. So yeah. Next type. ISFJs use their logical understanding of the abstract ideas and their deep understanding of things on the most deepest or complex level in the abstract and each sort of way to help their realistic, organized understanding of social harmony helps how build a relationship with their significant other or just that special someone, depending if they're in a relationship with the person or not. Like I said earlier. So yeah, I only have 2 more types to go. This video will not be as long as I was expecting, but that's only because I'm not diving really deep and I'm not tired. So, next type. ESTPs use their understanding of other people's emotions and social harmony, and in the more visionary or abstract philosophical way, to help their in the moment, spontaneous, figure things out, build a logical framework as we go, brain from relationships. I use this person really likes this person, like they're really good friends, and maybe I'll hang out with that person, or maybe I'll start exploring things with that person. Because then maybe the other person will see, he's close to Catherine, who's the person you're into, best friend. Stuff like that. Doesn't mean the ESTP is interested in females and is a dude, or is a female into a female, or a male that's in love with a male. It doesn't matter. Love whoever you want, except for that, you gross person. Next. Alright, the ESFPs use long-term efficient planning, just a TE and I, to use their authentic, emotional, fun-loving self to inform them how to form a bond with this person. That's what the SEFI takes from the TE and I. So yeah, that's the ESFP. Again, if you want a more complex deep dive, just in the 16 personalities and love in general. This might be one of the videos where, like, in the future, I do like the really long video. I just mean like super long. I mean like maybe an hour long video, just on this one topic and just really deep diving into every type and why they do the things they do when they're in love, or like when they're in a romantic relationship. Romantic relationship. But again, that's only if I become popular enough, and if you guys liked this video enough, or not, who knows. Anyways, then check out Frank James and Dear Kristen, and I'll see you in the next video, whatever that is. And